1 DBC. All stations, please stand by. The Denver Radio Club Learning Net starts in 1 minute. Hello and welcome back to the Denver Radio Club Learning Net for February 14th, 2024. It's a great place to learn about ham radio and STEM topics in general. And thankfully, we have plenty of combined experience and expertise. This is Kilo 1 Delta Bravo Charlie. My name is Daron, and I am this net control for this evening's net. Over the last few weeks, we'll try to bring some things back up here. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about Meshtastic and how that's gaining popularity here, and there's some opportunities here in Denver to check things out. We talked about some new HTs that were released. We were talking about some mobile operations and what frequencies you might monitor traveling throughout the country, and some upcoming events and things like that. So we can certainly talk about all those things, but we'll also be taking your comments, questions, check-ins, and more this evening. We meet every Wednesday except the third Wednesday of the month at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time on 145.490 and 448.625. Both have a negative offset. You can contact us via email if you like. One email address is elmer@w0tx.org. Also, if you go onto our website, w0tx.org, under the first menu, officers, staff, and volunteers, you'll see some other contact information if you'd like to get a hold of anyone else there as well. We are also on most social media at Denver Radio Club, so that's to include youtube.com/Denver Radio Club. We do stream and archive our nets on there, so if you'd like to see behind the scenes of the net or visual context, that is an additional way to check in and participate in the net. This net can be broken at any time for emergency or priority traffic by using the word break. Is there any emergency or priority traffic at this time? All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. So I had to clear my throat there. Do keep in mind there's a 3-minute timeout or so on the repeater. So just try to keep your follow-up succinct, but we are here for an hour long, so don't hesitate to jump in at any given time if no one else is speaking. And it does require a 100 hertz PL tone to transmit, so make sure those are both set up on your radio. Muted there on YouTube. If your suffix begins with the letters A through M, Alpha through Mike, please check in now.
Whiskey 0 Alpha Whiskey Sierra, Albert and Westminster. No traffic.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control.
W0 0 TX.
November 0, Echo Yankee Zulu. No traffic. Jim.
Kilo 0 Lima Alpha India K0 LEI, Larry in Lakewood.
This is Kilo Echo 0 Alpha Bravo, Ken in Lakewood, no traffic.
November 1, Golf Uniform Mike, Peter in Littleton.
November 0, Delta India Sierra, Doug, Denver, no traffic.
Golf 0 Lima Foxtrot Romeo, Chance and Aurora, no traffic.
This is K1DBC Net Control. Hold up there for just a moment. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. I'd like to welcome and acknowledge the following check-ins. Just before the net started, we had Ed Reed, AE0YR, checking on YouTube. Really do appreciate that. And then those check-ins over the air, we just had W0AWS Albert, N0EYZ Jim, K0LAI Larry, KE0 Alpha Bravo Ken, N1GUM Peter, N0DIS Doug, and WG0LFR. Thank you all so much for checking in to the Learning Net here this evening. All right, one more time. If your call suffix begins with the letters A through M, Alpha through Mike, and you'd like to check in, please do so with your call sign, your name, and if you have any traffic or questions, please call now.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Foxtrot Papa India, Ron in Lakewood, no traffic.
All right, and that time we had KF0FPI Ron. Thank you so much for checking in here. We'll take the second group of check-ins. We'll take call suffixes N through Z, November through Zulu. This is the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net. If you like to check in, we're taking call suffixes N through Z. Let us know your call sign, your name, and if you have any traffic or questions, please call now.
KE0 SUM, Jonathan, Lakewood.
November 0, Tango Romeo Papa, Jim in Lakewood. Good evening.
Hey, Sarah. Good to see you in there. Yeah, I'll get you checked in. Absolutely. Glad to hear you there. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Hold up there for just a moment. All right, and that time we had, let me see, KE0SUM, Jonathan, N0TRP, Jim, and then online we had old friend of the club here, N4NYX, Sarah, who's moved out of state, but glad to see them in there. So, this is K1DBC Net Control. Once more, if your call suffix begins with the letters N through Z, November through Zulu, and you'd like to check in, please call now.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Oscar Romeo Quebec, Sam, no traffic.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. And that time we had KF0ORQ. Sam, thanks for checking in. At this point, we'll open up the whole alphabet. We're taking all call signs, all call suffixes. This is the Denver Radio Club Learning Night, great place to learn about ham radio and STEM topics. We have plenty of combined experience and expertise. So if you'd like to check in, we're taking all call signs, all call suffixes. Let us know your call sign, your name, and if you have any traffic or questions, please call now. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. All right, nothing heard at the moment. I can bring up some stories. I didn't see anybody indicated they have any traffic or questions. This is about an hour long. We have another 50 so minutes. We'll go until 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time. Again, youtube.com/Denver Radio Club to view past nets, the live stream of this net. I can bring up some upcoming Denver Radio Club things, as well as other Ham Radio Club things as well, and other news stories and articles. But if anybody at the moment has any comments, questions, check-ins, anything you'd like to bring up about, again, what we spoke about last week or previous weeks, please call now.
Comment, SUM.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. All right, we had a check-in online. KF0NAT Ben been having issues connecting to the 2-meter repeaters. He suspects it's antenna coax, so he'll get it fixed over the weekend potentially. But he did sit for the general test and is now a general. So congratulations, NAT Ben. Awesome to hear. And then we had SUM Jonathan. Go right ahead.
Well, Jerome, there's a ham fest coming up Sunday, Adams County Fairground, 9 to noon or 1, I'm not sure which. But it looks like it's going to be well attended, but I thought the interesting thing was they just announced they're doing hidden transmitter hunts around the ground. There's a Boy Scout troop going to go up and other players. So if you're interested in checking out a hidden transmitter hunt, they're going to be doing that during the event and a little after that. So I thought I'd note that. It only came to my attention the other day. KE0SUM, back to that.
All right, sounds good there, Jonathan. SUM, this is a K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, absolutely. That was one of the things I was going to bring up. I think we talked about it on one of the previous nets too, but the Adams County Fairgrounds, Sunday, February 18th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. rmham.org/swapfest for more information on there. So awesome to see that. Yeah, and as you mentioned, they'll fox hunt opportunities on a course set up on the grounds and adjacent to Adams County Regional Park. So we have talked about amateur radio direction finding, fox hunting as we also call it. So it's a pretty cool opportunity if you have any interest. And again, you do not have to be licensed to do fox hunting with this group or anyone else. It does not require a license, just requires an HT and training. So really cool stuff there. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Anyone else at the moment? Comments, questions, check-ins, anything else you'd like to bring up or discuss? Please call now. This is K1 DBC Net Control. I guess I can briefly talk about our website. It's always an ongoing updates to it. As you know, we've upgraded the platform that it's on, and it's a lot faster to load. Things work a lot better. And now we're moving towards a post-oriented type site a little bit, so it's a little bit more dynamic content. So if you go right to the front of our webpage, you'll see a bunch of articles here, mostly written by Mark Thomas at the moment. But if you'd like to become an editor or publisher, or and you'd like to write any articles, let us know, and we're more than happy. Thankfully, Pete AB8WN has written up some instructions on how to do so. So some really awesome articles here, and I can just talk about a couple of those here real quick. Yeah, as mentioned, the Swap Fest on the 18th, and then we have our DRC meeting February 21st. Time topic is Simple Yagi Design, presented by John Portune, W6NBC. So more information. There's not too much more information at the moment, but it will be streamed on our YouTube as well as on our Google Meet, is where you will be going to view that. So and chat. So that's let me see here. February 21st, 6 p.m. Till 7 p.m. for an Elmer session, and then the main program is at 7 p.m. One more recent article here. Robert Pickett, K0RAP, has put up a Broadcastify feed for our main repeaters. Let's see, our 145 repeater, 147.330, and 448.625. So if you'd like to stream the feed of our repeaters, you can do so 24/7. So even if the YouTube isn't running, you can still listen live on there. So again, Broadcastify links, thanks to K0RAP Robert. So awesome to see that. All right, I'm sure I can bring up some other things, but anyone else at the moment? Comments, questions, check-ins, anything else so far for this evening's net? Please call now. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Again, I can bring up some news stories, some articles, things like that, but anyone else, any other comments, questions, check-ins so far for this evening's net? Please call now. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Adjacent to ham radio a little bit, a 200-foot AM radio tower has gone missing in Alabama, which is quite a surprise to the owners and everyone surrounding that. So the station WJLX sent a landscaping crew to the site Friday morning for spring cleaning, only to find the 200-foot radio tower gone. When a crew member called the station's general manager to break the news, they were in disbelief. "What do you mean the tower is gone?" they said. "Are you sure you're at the right place?" He said, "There's wires all over the ground and the tower is gone." So that is really crazy. Thieves stole every piece of equipment from the building, including a transmitter, and they've filed a report with the police. So pretty crazy. But some comments I saw is that, just anecdotally, apparently, let me drop here for a moment. It's interesting that they found out that way and not by their listeners calling in. So maybe it wasn't too active of a repeater or station. So that seems pretty crazy. And the station engineer not having monitoring on it, things like that. So yeah, this is K1DBC Net Control. Yeah, really crazy story there from the 9th of February, I think. 200-foot AM radio station tower disappears. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Anyone else? Any other comments, questions, check-ins so far for this evening's net? Please call now.
So, how many people does it take to take down a 200-foot antenna and haul it away? I'm guessing it's for the aluminum, but that just seems interesting, the amount of thievery that went on. KE0SUM.
Yeah, great question on that. Yeah, I didn't do too much follow-up on that, but yeah, you would think the logistics required to dismantle a 200-foot tower would take a long time. It would take several days, and people would be seeing it or hearing it and whatnot. So, yeah, I have not done any tower removals myself. I know that some people in the club have done some tower work, erecting or dismantling. But yeah, I'm guessing a 200-foot tower is nothing to sneeze at. So it seems like it would take quite a concerted effort to make that happen. So anyone else on that? Yeah, go right ahead. All right. It remains to be discovered how a radio tower heist was pulled off without causing a stir and leaving an obvious trail. As one could imagine, there aren't a lot of past similar incidences to try to draw clues from. So let's see some of the FCC things here. Federal law says one who willfully or maliciously injures or destroys any of the works, property, or material of any radio, telegraph, telephone, or cable line, station, or system, or other means of communication operated or controlled by the United States can face up to 10 years of imprisonment and fines. So, hopefully perpetrators are caught, and maybe it's quite a rural area, but some comments. Check the scrapyard for metal, things like that. So, anyone else on that? Go right ahead.
Whiskey Zero Alpha Whiskey Sierra here. It would be my belief that, they're trying to unload the steel or the aluminum that it's made out of, if not the copper cabling, as well as the electronics. Now, the electronics would probably have to go through some type of fence, such as, eBay or something like that. It would be very obvious because it's probably, at least 10 kilowatts worth of transmitter power. That's just my opinion. Over.
Yes, very good point there, Robert. Yeah, maybe scrapping for the metal, and then security-wise, I do I do internet installations for cell phone towers. So very similar. They have a code, a gate that's securing it, and then usually equipment is inside of a locked cabinet or something like that. So it sounds like maybe those weren't in place potentially here, or whoever it may be. But quite a logistical thing to pull off. So anyone else? If you've done any tower work, ham radio or otherwise, or any other input on that, go right ahead. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control.
Whiskey Zero Alpha Whiskey Sierra here, Albert. I was wondering if they sell these switch mode power supplies for amateur radio, and I was just wondering if anyone had used them and whether or not they had any kind of problems with interference from them. Over.
Explain again the power supply, please.
The switch mode power supply versus having a big chunk of iron transformer, a bridge rectifier, and a massive capacitor. I would figure that a switch mode would be more efficient. Over.
So, Jerome, can I comment? Yes, you am.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and comment there on switch mode power supplies for ham radio. SUM, go ahead.
So you're talking about a switching power supply versus a linear, say an Astron, a big linear that the sine wave looks much different than switching, because switching is all digital, so it does it every millisecond or so. It goes up in voltage, etc. Now, switching power supplies are known to be a little more noisy, so people who run bigger rigs, I want to say, and more power, definitely prefer the linear power supply, in my opinion.
W0TX repeater.
Interesting. Is there anyone else on the net that has had any experience with using a switch mode power supply over a linear power supply? Over.
Alpha Bravo.
Good question there, and I can bring a little bit more information on linear versus switching power supplies, but Alpha Bravo, go right ahead.
Well, I don't have a lot of experience, but I use both, and I know that the switching power supplies are lighter and like they said, they're noisier, and on the heavier supplies, they're heavier and they heat up more. But other than that, I've never seen any difference in the way they work or the way the amperage or the voltage. There's no difference in that area anyway. That's what I've seen over the years. Back to net. This is Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo.
All right, Alpha Bravo, thanks for the follow-up on that. A little bit of just cursory Google searching here. So let's see, from buy2aradios.com, linear versus switching. Linear power supplies have been around for a long time. At one point, it was the only choice for power supplies. They produce clean, quiet DC voltage with little or no electromagnetic noise. This makes the linear power supply a great choice for using it in radio communications. It takes the AC line voltage and puts it through a transformer to lower the voltage, then through a rectifier and filters to convert it to DC output. They're well suited for use with radios, but they do have a few drawbacks. Large transformers and filter circuits generate a lot more heat, which in turn requires large heat sinks to compensate. Due to all these components, they're quite heavy. The more power they provide, the heavier and larger they become. Energy efficiency is fairly low to a switching power supply. Let me drop for a moment. Hey, Ben, I'll get back to you in a minute. Thanks. And then a switching power supply, switch mode, or switching powers are smaller, lighter, and more advanced. They also operate at considerably higher efficiency than a linear model. They also generate less heat, which can be an important advantage when operating in a small ham shack or an area with limited air circulation. Drawback to switching power supplies is that they can introduce RFI noise. It can be a problem with inexpensive, lower quality models and small brick-style power supplies intended for general consumer electronics. But it's not generally an issue with power supplies intended for radios and built by high-quality, name-brand manufacturers. Even so, noise can sometimes be alleviated by using EMI chokes or ferrite cores on external wiring to the radio. Let's see, and then really quickly from DX Engineering here. So which method is best? To answer that, it depends on your intended applications. Applications where size and weight are major considerations, switching power supplies wins, hands down. Large iron core transformers are also expensive. Switching power supplies can be less expensive than linear ones. Size, weight, and cost are three big advantages. Let's see, switching power supplies use high-frequency switching transistors to make output current. Let's see, what's the bottom line? Dollar for dollar switch mode power supplies usually provide more power for less cost. They're also smaller and lighter than standard iron transformer linear power supplies. So yeah, that's about all that I can bring up on that. But yeah, anyone else on that? Switching power supplies versus a linear power supply, go right ahead.
Comment, SUM.
Yeah, Jonathan, SUM, go ahead.
I think the thing is with the switching, which are very popular, but generally they only go up to 35 amps. Whereas you get into the linear power supplies, some of the Astrons, now you're talking, 50 amps, something like that. So it's much higher amperage compared to most power supplies that we sell digitally.
Bravo.
Okay, interesting to hear on that and the amperage outputs between the two. Alpha Bravo, go right ahead.
Yeah, I run a diamond power supply, 40 amp, on the switching power supply, and then I run a 35 amp linear, an Astron. And when I use the Antron for my FTDX3000 when I'm using my microphone because the linear is quieter and you don't hear any of the fan noise that the mic picks up on the diamond. So that's why I don't run the diamond, is because you can hear the fan noise, and that's one of the reasons I use the linear because of the microphone that I have. This is Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo. Back to net.
All right, thanks there, Alpha Bravo. Yeah, it sounds like there's good applications for one or the other. So really do appreciate the follow up on that. We can start to take check-ins here in just a minute. But anyone else on the topic of switch mode power supplies, linear power supplies? I think it was Albert AWS who originally asked on that. If you have any follow up on that or any other questions or anyone else, go right ahead.
AWS?
AWS, the net is yours.
It's a very interesting point is the noise difference in terms of just audio noise versus switching noise. So that would tell me that I should probably stick with using a linear one because then I guess the worst I could have was a 60 hertz hum. All right, thank you all for the information and back to net.
Good evening. The time is 8 p.m.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Really do appreciate everyone's comments and follow up on that. There was another conversation I'll bring back up here in a minute. KF0NAT in the YouTube chat. He was mentioning if there was one Hamfest that they should go to in the United States that would be worthwhile, kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity. What would that be? So we can just tease that here, and we'll bring that back up here in a few minutes. With that though, I'll take this opportunity to take check-ins. If you're just tuned in, this is Daron, K1 DBC Net Control. You're tuning in to the Denver Radio Club. Ham Learning Net. It's a great place to learn about ham radio and STEM topics, and thankfully we have plenty of combined experience and expertise. We're taking all call signs, all call suffixes. If you'd like to check in just for the count, or if you have any traffic or questions, let us know your call sign, your name, and again, if you have any traffic or questions, please call now. Once more, this is Daron, K1DBC for the Denver Radio Club W0TX Learning Net. If you'd like to check in just for the count or if any traffic or questions, please call now. All right, nothing heard just at the moment. We have another 30 or so minutes. I'll take check-ins once or twice more throughout the evening here. With that, though, anyone else? Any other comments, questions, check-ins, anything else so far for this evening's net? Please call now.
W0TX repeater.
I have a question, Daron. SUM.
Yeah, Jonathan, go ahead with the question.
I enjoy your nets, and I like the way you do your YouTube, too. So I thought I'd take the chance to ask Chance. Now, he seems to be a really new technician. I wondered how he got into it and how he's liking it. KE0SUM.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control, WG0LFR. I don't know if you want to follow up on there, how you got into the hobby, how you found our club, just looking at your QRZ page and seeing some recent International Space Station activity, so really cool stuff there. It looks like he has some gear listed on there. So yeah, WG0LFR, if you want to follow up, go right ahead.
Yeah, let me first start with a signal check. I'm on a handheld now. Make sure you can hear me. WG0LFR.
WG0LFR, Chance, coming in loud and clear. Go ahead.
Perfect. I've always been interested in talking long distance on ham, but didn't really know what it was actually all about, and got into it kind of from the prepping aspect, I guess you'd say, after reading about ham radio in an EMP survival type of book. So I just started reaching out on the internet and figured out how to do it, got my technician license, and I've been thoroughly enjoying it so far. It's been a lot of fun and a lot of different aspects that I didn't really think about before. The satellite communication has been pretty cool. Next up for me, I think, is single sideband 2 meter. I've got a vintage machine that does that, and I can use my satellite antenna for that, so I'll mess around with that a little bit. And I think I'm going to take my general test in a couple days, and I'm in the market for an Icon 7300 to do some real HF work. So that's how I'm liking it, WG0 LFR.
All right, sounds good there. WG0 LFR. This is K1 DVC Net Control.
It does 2 meter sideband, out of curiosity.
There was a bit of a double there. SUM, can you come again?
Yeah, I was curious about what vintage radio you had, or any radio that you had that did 2 meter sideband.
Well, it is a Kenwood TR9000 that I got from a friend who I'm trying to get into ham radio, and his grandpa's into ham radio and had a bunch of equipment, and we've been playing with it. So it's an all-mode 2 meter transceiver, and I've been using alligator clips as a power supply because there's no power cable, and apparently they're impossible to find. So that's been kind of fun. I need to get out to a better location. It doesn't work from my living room. WG0 LFR.
So you are aware of a 2 meter sideband net on Monday nights at 8? KE0 SUM. Back to net.
Yes, I am. I listened in this last Monday, but from the living room I could only pick up a little bit, but I heard contacts out pretty far. I just need to get that antenna I've got to a better location, and I will tune back in again this Monday.
All right, this is K1 DVC Net Control. And sorry, that was me that doubled with you there, SUM, just when you were talking initially there. But yeah, great follow-up there in terms of the rig that you mentioned there, the Kenwood TR9000. Pretty cool looking stuff there. Yeah, as mentioned, the net, Rocky Mountain VHF Plus net Monday at 8 p.m. So pretty cool stuff. rmvhf.org for more information on there. So this is K1 DVC Net Control. Anyone else at the moment? I can bring up what was asked in the YouTube chat here. But anyone else? Any other comments, questions, check-ins? Please call now. All right, this is K1 DVC Net Control. Let's see, just looking back at some of the comments in here, really do appreciate everyone being a part of that. Let's see, KF0NAT was asking, again, as mentioned a few minutes ago, if a visitor to the U.S. was able to travel to one ham fest in the country, which one would the group recommend as one of those once-in-a-lifetime experiences? So it looks like Sarah and for XYX mentioned, excuse me, and for NYX mentioned Dayton Hamvention as you might suspect. That's a pretty good one to do and check off as a once in a lifetime opportunity if you haven't been able to do that. Another one was Orlando and Dayton. Let me see. So, and then as mentioned, yeah, the Denver Radio Club Ham Fest. Please check us out. So, yeah, anyone else on that? What would be a good once in a lifetime to check off on ham fests? If you want to mention yours, go right ahead. All right, this is K1 DVC Net Control.
Hey, Drone. Why don't we ask Sam about how he got into ham radio, if you don't mind? KE0 SUM.
All right, sounds good there, Jonathan. This is K1 DBC Net Control. If anybody does have any other follow-up on Hamfests, let us know throughout the net. We have another 20 solar minutes. Sam, if you want to follow up, KF0ORQ on how you got into ham radio, or if you want to follow up on anything, go right ahead. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Sam, if you want to chime in at all, KF0ORQ on how you got into ham radio or how you're liking it so far, the net is yours. Go ahead. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. All right, nothing heard at the moment. We'll try them again here in a little bit or next week or the week after. This is K1DBC Net Control. Anyone else? We have another 20 minutes or so. Any other comments, questions, check-ins, anything else? Please call now. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. I can bring up some recent activities from the Rocky Mountain Ham Radio Group, their recent Nerd Fest. Took place over the weekend. Let me see. Oops, that was not it. Sorry about that. This is K1DBC Net Control. Due to inclement weather, they changed it to online only, so you can find all their talks on their youtube.com/Rocky Mountain Ham Radio. Pretty cool talks here. All-Con, or All-Mon for All-Star Monitoring, AC0KQ, Next Generation All-Star Monitoring, Small Antenna Rotors for AMSAT use. Let me see. That was by Chris Keller, K0SWE. Another talk by Chris, W1AW/Zero Operations and Planning. Some surface mount reflow at home, GIT for ham radios, software versioning, chasing balloons with the Edge of Space Sciences, and WFVIE, WFView ICOM remote control. So a lot of talks up on their page here, I believe.
W0TX repeater.
All right, I'm only seeing just a couple on there, but looks like, yeah, if you want to go look in on how All-Star is monitored or AmFest small antenna rotors, those videos are at least up there at the moment, plus plenty of others, so check that out. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. I'm sure I can bring up a few more things, but anyone else at the moment? Comments, questions, check-ins, please call now. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. A topic that was talked about a couple of weeks ago was Meshtastic and LoRa long-range radio and how we can use it for kind of APRS style functionality. I think it was brought up that one of the clubs uses it for APRS. I'm going to see if I can find that. I think it was the Douglas Aries group, I think Larry mentioned. But there's another group, denvermesh.org, and you can... You could basically, it's just a local group for Meshtastic and Meshtastic nodes. Another website that was recently brought up here was meshmap.net. You can view nodes that are reporting in online there as well. So again, very similar to kind of APRS functionalities, but off-grid, license-free messaging, which is pretty cool stuff. So anyone on Meshtastic or any follow-up on the last few weeks, if anybody's used that, go right ahead. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Let's see, it was mentioned that the Douglas and Elbert counties are using it for APRS functionality. So very long distance in places, especially where there's no cell phone coverage. Pretty cool stuff here. So long range radio and APRS experimenting. So you can participate in LoRa for their group at least as well. So anyone else on LoRa or Meshtastic, go right ahead. All right, I'm sure I can bring up some other things, but we have another 15 minutes. Any other comments, questions, check-ins, anything else so far for this evening's net? Please call now. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. I don't have much more at the moment. I'm sure I can find something here, but we have another, again, 15 minutes. Comments, questions, check-ins? Anyone else on ham radio or projects you've been working on or follow-up from past weeks? Please call now.
KB0VQP, Kilo Bravo Zero, Victor Quebec Papa, driving through Westminster.
KB0VQP. Tim, glad to hear you in there. I think it's maybe one of the first times, or it's been a while maybe since you checked in here, but glad to hear you on the repeater. And if you have any comments or questions, let us know, but good to hear you in there.
Oh, sure, KB0VQP, clear.
All right, always good to hear new call signs. So, yeah, appreciate that. This is K1DBC, Delta Bravo Charlie. I guess I'll take check-ins again. If anybody wants to check in, we're taking all check-ins, all call signs. Let us know your call sign, your name, and if you have any comments or questions, please call now. All right, this is K1DBC, Net Control. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Let me see another conference that happened recently. FOSDEM, Free and Open Source Developers Meeting, is a yearly conference that took place in Brussels, Belgium on 3rd and 4th of February this year. Conference featured a room on software-defined radio and amateur radio. Recent videos of most of the talks have been uploaded to their website, FOSDEM.org. Very heady topics on their page here. Let's see, one of the topics given was covert ground-based synthetic aperture radar using a Wi-Fi emitter and SDR receiver. I don't know much about this, but just to quote them here, using a Wi-Fi emitter as an RF source, illuminating a scene under investigation for slow movement landslides, for example. A ground-based synthetic aperture radar, GBSAR, is assembled using commercial off-the-shelf hardware. Dual-channel coherent software-defined radio receiver records the non-cooperative emitter signal as well as a signal received by a surveillance antenna facing the scene. So it sounds like it's a technology used to detect movements like landslides. So pretty interesting topic there. Very, very heady stuff here. Let me see if there's anything else I can bring up here. Little less heady here. DAPnet, bringing pagers back to the 21st century. When talking about pagers, most of us will think about an object of the past, often seen in TV shows from the 90s, used by medical staff and businessmen and women. However, they are an interesting way to get simple data broadcast over amateur radio frequencies with receivers that can be built for less than $20 or 20 pounds. We'll explore this and understand how an extensive network can be deployed with simple equipment using open source hardware and software. Just one of many talks available. Really, really cool stuff. Some satellite processing. Just a lot of really cool telecom and really cool presentations here. So again, fosdem.org. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. This is K1DBC Net Control. Any other comments, questions, check-ins, anything else so far for this evening's net? We have another 10 minutes. Please call now.
Alpha Bravo.
Yeah, Ken, Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo. The net is yours.
Daron, did I hear you say that you were working on some cell sites or working on the cell sites?
Yes, that is correct. I haven't spoken about it too much, but I work for an internet service provider. Essentially, I work remotely. I work with people in the field. They're the ones installing the internet routers, essentially, and then I remotely program them. I don't do too much of the RF side. Our customers are some of the big wireless telecom operators, as you might think of: T-Mobile, Dish, AT&T, things like that. So we're setting up 1 gig, 100 gig, 10 gig internet cell sites connectivity for them. So we don't do too much on the RF side, but I work on the network engineering side. So if you have any comments on that or questions or anyone else on that, go ahead.
Yeah, I worked on the cell sites out in California for a couple years. We built the towers and what they called the cows, which were the temporary sites, and then we built the sites on the buildings and put up the antennas and stuff like that. I didn't do any of the programming or running of the cables. I just did the structural work. But I'm curious, around here, what's the distance between the cell sites nowadays? Just out of curiosity, do you know?
W0TX repeater.
This is K1 DBC Net Control. Nationwide, at least, because of how the internet is provided, it is limited to basically the optics that we put into these routers. So it's basically up to 100 kilometers is usually the most. We'll see around 5 to 20 to 40 kilometers usually on average. 5G, 6G is requiring more density, so it's a lot more dense nowadays than it has been in the past. I can't remember exactly, but there's they're a lot all over the place, all over the places, churches, tall buildings, kind of hidden in plain sight. So this is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, they're quite all around us, and most of them are trying to deliver at least 1 gigabit, if not 10 gigabit internet as well now. So anyone else on that or Alpha Bravo? Go ahead.
This is Alpha Bravo. Yeah, when we were putting them kilometer-wise, boy, I'd have to get my calculator out. But I think we were setting them up about 5 miles apart. And yes, they're putting them on the churches, on the side of buildings, on towers. And I don't know if you're familiar with what they used to call, when I was doing it years and years ago, the cows, which were the temporary sites. But have you experienced any working on any of the cows?
How are you spelling that? Is that cows, C-O-W-S, or can you go ahead and spell that once more? Go ahead.
Yeah, CWS. They're just small trailers, probably, I'd say maybe 9 foot by 6 foot, and maybe about 8 foot tall. And then they have a telescoping antenna that goes up with the antennas on top, with kind of a curly Q feeder going up to them. And I was just curious if you had seen any of those around town, or if you've worked with any of those.
Gotcha. Not that I know of. Unless a tech needs directions to a cell site, I don't normally go on Google Maps to look at them, but we will sometimes see them. But I don't know if I've set up any temporary ones. I know for sure, during some sporting events, we'll do some quick temporary work to get better access for those events, things like that. So I might have and not known it. I'm not too sure, but I deliver the internet side, and then the customer comes up and sets up their side. I know they set up some temporary power. Sometimes we have temporary power, like a generator, and then they lose access to the cell site because the generator went down. But in terms of temp cell sites, I'm not too sure on that. But great question.
That's exactly what they're temporary sites, and yes, they do have a generator in them, and the generator runs a 100 amp panel to power everything up, and all the equipment inside of them. Very interesting, Daron. Thank you very much. This is Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo. Back to net.
All right, thanks, Ben. Have a good one. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, it's a really fun job. If anybody's interested, there's a lot of opportunities within telecom and wireless telecom. It's an extremely growing industry, not just for cell phone towers, but also for emergency and governmental uses and things like that. So, a lot of fun, and definitely it seems like a job that encompasses a lot of ham radio and a lot of IT support and things like that. So, anyone else? Any other comments, questions, check-ins? We have another 5 minutes. Please call now. Let's see, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Pretty cool technology that we use within the industry, but also as ham radio operators is a device for time domain reflectometry or reflectometer, TDR, or in my industry we use an optical one. And it's used for, you can find them in a nano VNA or tiny SA, I think, options for basically measuring an unknown length of cable. So in my job, sometimes we need to know the distance between cell phone sites. So this is a good way to do that. And if you ever need to figure out the length of an unknown length of a coax, and you have a tiny or a nano VNA, that's a pretty cool technology as well. So really cool stuff. This is K1 DBC Net Control. We have another 5 minutes. Any other comments, questions? Please call now.
Okay, Drone, I've got one more comment. KE0SUM.
Yeah, Jonathan, SUM, go ahead.
I find the analyzer debate interesting because I do have a nano VNA that I bought years ago. I think it was like $35. It's really inexpensive, maybe $50. And I found the screen small. I found it interesting to learn how to use. But at the same time, then I said, well, I need something better. So I moved up to a Rig Expert, which is a very nice, much larger, bigger, brighter screen. But I'm always interested about why people are drawn to the nano VNA. Do you guys use that specifically? Because I've really gone away from it. Just a thought.
Good question there. This is K1 DBC Net Control.
AWS, Whiskey Zero Alpha, Whiskey Sierra. The Nano VNA is the low-cost thing that I can use to get a complex impedance of looking at an antenna that I've been twisting together, or a matching balloon, or to just check out whether or not it's actually working. Over.
Well, I think they're pretty good as a spectrum analyzer, too. So they do a lot more in some ways, but they're just not as easy to read. Because my common issue is I'm always setting up SWR in the field, and I need something I can really see. But, yeah, I agree with you.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Yes, these screens are small, and working with them, I can definitely say, it's a little fiddly. But I believe at this point they've had a lot of software updates and things like that. You should be able to interface it with a computer and take a lot of readings through a PC or Mac, I believe, which makes it much easier to work with. But I have not worked with mine in a while as well. But as mentioned, it's just a nice low-cost tool. Compared to some of the other things that we might buy, it's just it can do quite a lot. So, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Anyone else on the Nano VNA or Rig Experts VNA or anything else on that? Go ahead. All right, good question there, and good topic to round up the net here. But anyone else? We have another couple of minutes. Any other comments, questions, check-ins? Any last-minute check-ins, comments, questions? Please call now.
WD0 CIV, WD0 CIV, check in, and no traffic.
W0TX, repeater.
WD0 CIV, WD0 CIV, no traffic.
All right, this is K1DBC, WD0 CIV. Charles, got you checked in. All right, any other comments, questions, check-ins? Please call now. All right, it is 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time. Really do appreciate everyone checking in here. Again, next week will be our meeting, so we won't be on the air. W0tx.org for more information on that. On the 21st, 6 p.m. for an Elmers session, main program at 7 p.m. John Portune, W6NBC. Simple Yagi design, so check that out. Quite a popular character there and really good popular presentation. So this is K1DBC Net Control. We had a total of 17 check-ins. Really do appreciate everyone who's checked in to this net and past nets. If you're ever interested in participating as a net control operator, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself or anyone else, and we're more than happy to show you the ropes and give you access to the tools that we have. With that, this is K1DBC Net Control. We do appreciate the club for allowing us to use the repeaters. So again, next week will be our meeting. With that, this is K1DBC 73, and I'll be clear.
KF0 FPI, this is Kilo Echo 0 Alpha Bravo. You have a copy there, Ron?